Manchester United are in discussions with Erik ten Hag about a new contract. The club have decided he will remain as their manager for next season. So Reece ten Hag, he won the FA Cup last season. He finally got to play his full strongest squad in that game as well. What do you make of Manchester United's decision to keep hold of him?
Is absolutely the right decision. In my opinion, Erik ten Hag and Manchester United is one of the very few bright sparks. He's one of the positives there. You look at the Glazers and Enos, there's a lot of question marks there. There's a lot of question marks over the squad, over the players. Do they care enough? You've got to look back. Two of the best managers that our country has ever seen, Sir Alex Ferguson and Sir Bobby Robson. The one thing that those two managers both needed was time. They needed time to build their squads, to get their playing style going, to bring in the right players. And it's almost as if that patience is now being lost in modern football.
Yeah, and let's talk about the end of season review a minute, because it was concluded during the end of season review at Manchester United that Erik ten Hag was the right person to lead them under the new regime, which is led by Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Enos. There were very positive talks. Ten Hag, of course, wanted to stay, and United conducted a thorough assessment before deciding whether or not to let go of him or to keep him. But the problem that I have, and look, I know this is slightly different to the debate that we were going to have, but it's kind of like the way that the press ran with the narrative that Ten Hag was going to go. And if there's one thing that I've learned when I studied journalism, was to nail down a story if you are going to run with it. So do you reckon Ten Hag was harshly treated by maybe the media?
Yeah, on 100% he was. But almost in all aspects of sport and in life, the media are so critical. You look at the two England friendlies, I know it's slightly off topic. You look at the two England friendlies and obviously the disappointment, especially in that 1-0 defeat against Iceland. And the Daily Mail, the Sun, the Star are all jumping on the backs of England players and slating them and saying we've got no chance. I think everyone just needs to take a breath and calm down, especially at Manchester United. It's a club where we could talk for half an hour about all the off-field issues, the players, Enos, the Glazers, things that have gone wrong. They got a manager there that has won titles. Look at what he won at Ajax with titles with the KNVB Cup, with the Johan Cruyff Shield. He knows what it takes to succeed. Now, everyone talks about how amazing the likes of Alejandro Garnacho, how much he's come on this season. Kobe Mainoo has come through the Man United ranks and has shone in the Premier League. I've got a question for you, Ben, and for anyone else watching this. Would those two players have shone under a different manager?
I don't think they would have done, and I think for the further development of these players as well, including like Rasmus Højlund as well, who we can add to that list, I reckon Ten Hag is the right man really, because he has got a good relationship with his players, and he's letting go of, because for years at Manchester United, even under Cristiano Ronaldo, there had always been rumours circulating that there were certain players in the dressing room who were bad eggs, who didn't like any manager regardless of who it was, who had no patience for the manager, who were prima donnas, ego too big. And I reckon, like Ten Hag, and we've seen it already, he is going to get rid of some of those players. And I reckon we saw it in the FA Cup final as well, and how close together some of the youngsters were with the manager. I reckon all because of that, that's just one of the factors, but I reckon he's the perfect man just because of his man management when it comes to some of those younger players. And I'm looking forward to seeing a fully fit Mason Mount as well, because his first year was hugely affected by injuries too. Martinez at the back, brilliant defender. Thought he had a brilliant FA Cup final. He barely made any appearances really because of injuries as well. So when all of these big players come back, he will have his strongest squad. And I know I'm jumping all over the place really with my assessment of your question, but I simply think that he's the perfect man because of some of the youngsters that they have and his track record when it comes to managing youngsters, and because, and I know this is slightly off topic, but the fact that he will have players returning from injury as well. And I know a lot of people on social media have been slating United's potential decision to keep hold of Ten Hag. But, a lot of United fans are on his side. And I think a lot of the fan support has made a significant impact on them keeping Ten Hag. So let's cast ahead to next season. United, if they can make a couple of new signings, if they can keep their squad fit, it's going to be very, very big for Ten Hag, isn't it? Because he won't have the same patience that he's had this season, next season, will he?
Exactly. I don't want to say there's pressure going into next season because I don't believe there is, but there will be from the outside from fans. And the reason why I sort of say that is because, look, English football at this moment in time is going to be dominated by Manchester City. Their squad, okay, look at the 115 charges, but their squad they've put together, the manager they've got, all blends really, really well. I can't see them sort of dropping off at any point, even if they do lose the likes of Erling Haaland. I think when you got the backup of Julian Alvarez and players that get ready to step in, then I don't see how a team can compete with that, to be honest. And now you look at Liverpool, who are entering a new era under their manager Arne Slot. So it's a really good opportunity now for Manchester United, not necessarily to go for the title. I'm not going to sort of jump on here and go they're going to win the league next season. It's a really good opportunity to break into the top four because Liverpool are going to be really experimental. No one really knows what to expect under them. So you can always sort of drag Liverpool out and say they're going to have a bit of a project season. It's going to be about installing the right players, getting the system playing the way that Slot wants to as well. But the problem is, towards the top end of the Premier League, there's so many good teams sort of up there. And then you've got the likes of Newcastle and Brighton, who are now starting to push into that. Aston Villa are another one of the last couple of years who are starting to push into that sort of top six. And unfortunately, teams are going to have to drop away. The problem is that Manchester United are a couple of years behind that. You're not going to get, let's say you bring in three signings, let's say you bring in a midfielder and an attacker within this window. That's not going to transform to instant success. You can look at the business that Manchester United done last year, and it's really good. If you'd have said Manchester United would get Mason Mount, I think fans would have chopped your hand off. I think when he's fit, he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. The problem is that Ten Hag is dealing with a massive injury list. I think I said it in the FA Cup final commentary that this season alone, Manchester United have used 15 different centre-back combinations. It's been that bad, and he's still won the FA Cup. He's a first manager out of the last four in successive seasons to win trophies. Won the FA Cup this season, won the Carabao Cup last season. So I don't see how you can lay blame at the door of Erik Ten Hag.
Let's also talk about the structure, because Ten Hag could prosper under a different structure next season that will eventually see Dan Ashworth installed as sporting director, Jason Wilcox as football director, and Omar Breda as chief executive. Do you reckon he can prosper under a different structure as well?
Yeah, I think he can. If we go back to his time at Ajax, where he got a proper football and structure there, and you look at the sort of trophies in which he won 3 leagues. You look at the KNVB Cup over there, won that twice, came runner-up the season afterwards, won the Johan Cruyff Shield in 2019. He's a manager that knows how to win silverware. You're not going to put Pep Guardiola or an Erik Ten Hag. If you put them into a team and a club that's not got the right structure, they're not going to succeed. Successful managers and successful players need the right infrastructure around them in order to succeed. You're not going to put, let's throw a name out there, Pep Guardiola, if he goes to, I know Everton, let's say. Everton are a well-run club as well. I know the takeover is a little bit stalling at the moment. But let's say Pep Guardiola went to Everton and there's no training ground, there's no gym, there's no match replay cameras on the sidelines. Pep Guardiola isn't going to succeed. He needs infrastructure. It's the same as Erik Ten Hag. under this new structure, he is going to succeed. The problem is that the word succeed has different meanings for different fans. What actually is a successful season for Manchester United next season?
In my opinion, top four, because they're still, and regardless of what you think of Jim Ratcliffe, I don't think he's a perfect trainer. We've heard things in the past that he isn't necessarily a footballing man, that he is a little too hands-on with some projects when he hasn't necessarily got the right capabilities to do so. When you think of that, you still have to keep in mind that United aren't the perfect club, even if they do have a lot of money. So I think top four has to really be their expectations for next season, because let's be honest, they're not going to compete with Manchester City. Liverpool are still probably a little bit out of their reach, even when they do have a new manager in Arne Slot. We don't know how they're going to do, because they've still retained some very talented players, and they could go into the transfer window and sign some more very talented players as well. So I simply reckon that, third and fourth, they'll be battling with the likes of Chelsea and Spurs over that. I know Arsenal, I haven't mentioned them. They'll probably be up there for Manchester City as well. But they'll probably be battling for third or fourth with Arsenal, Chelsea or Spurs. So that should really be their expectations, just because, Rome wasn't built in a day, and if this project is a success, they should really be just hoping for steady improvements, a steady increase in regards to where they finish in the league table, even a decent European campaign, because they're in the Europa League next season, aren't they? Even a decent European campaign, maybe win the Europa League. I reckon that would be a brilliant season for Erik Ten Hag. So we are going to wrap things up. Finally, Reece, where do you see them finishing?
I think realistically, I know fans are saying they want a third trophy in 3 seasons, but I think realistically, if they make the semi-final of the FA Cup, do the same in the Carabao Cup, realistically, that's a very, very good season. I think if they got top 6, and again, you give yourself something to work on. The likes of Aston Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, who are pushing up into the sort of steady pack of the likes of Tottenham and Arsenal and Liverpool and Manchester City. That's such a hard pack to sort of break into. I'll leave Man United fans with one word: patience.
Spot on, and I agree with you. We do the Football League Weekly on Over the Bar. You can find that show every week over on YouTube and Twitch. Of course, go and visit Over the Bar as well. And also check out Glory Hunters, the channel that you're watching this on at the moment, for a brilliant European Championship preview. We're previewing every single big team in the European Championship, and the videos are brilliant. So check out all the content over there as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all next time.